My name is Anuj Bharadwaj. Some of you might already be aware. In case you don't know me, this is just a quick introduction about me. So I have around 13 years of experience, specialized in cybersecurity, network security. I have recently started exposures on this vulnerability management and CEH, certified ethical hacking, reverse engineering, malware analysis. So there are certain fields I have also worked upon, but my main focus is on the network security field. I'm also working professional, and along with that, I used to share my practical experience with the guys like you. I have completed my advanced certification in cybersecurity and cyber defense from IIT Kanpur. So it was like 6 months course. And over there, I learned almost all the fields of the cybersecurity. So it includes cybersecurity basics, vulnerabilities, how to get inject any malicious code, how to prepare malware, how to do malware analysis, how to do network security, how you can implement your firewalls in order to create the separate rules. Along with that, I have also completed how to create secure code in order to get right practice in the secure coding. Right, whenever any developer is developing any code, which are the secure functions which can use and in order to secure those codes. So this was the things what I learned from the IIT Kanpur during certification, and I was just top three over there. Okay, so we had a lot of labs over there, the data center, or in fact the whatever the labs they have set it up. So gone through there, visited a lot of learning. It was massive change. It happened with me on cybersecurity. That was about me. But here today we are about the FortiGate Firewall. So whenever we talk about the FortiGate Firewall, the very first and genuine question comes in the mind that what is this and why only we need this FortiGate Firewall? So very first thing, whenever you have any network, like you have different computers here, right, in your organizations, there is always an entry and exit point whenever you are connecting to the outside world. Either it could be a router, it could be a switch or any device. That's how you are getting in and out. So it's very important to monitor and seal our entry and exit. From there, we can monitor, and if any malicious attempt or whatever the anomaly we found, think that okay, this could be an anomaly, we try to block it and investigate it further in order to allow or deny. So that's where the firewall comes in the picture, that we can always deploy firewall at the entry and exit point. So whenever any traffic going out, we will keep on monitoring that, okay, what the information is going out. If any outsiders want to get inside your network, they are scanning your network, they are trying to reach any server within your organization, I will make sure that he's authorized person and he's allowed to get into it, then only we will allow it. Else we will not permit that guy to get inside. So it's we are securing our parameter. So that's very important device that we should, whenever you create your home, right, like this, then what do? Always you do the fencing around your home. The very first basic requirement, you put a gate to get inside. And sometimes we also put the security guard there. And what we do, we ask them that no unauthorized person is allowed to get in or out. So that's what we are doing here, that this is your network completely. We have secured like perimeter, and at the entry and exit, we need someone to supervise and restrict the traffic which we don't want. So that's the main purpose of the firewall, and that's why we deploy the firewalls. Now, next question comes that why we need FortiGate firewall. There are a lot of vendors in the market. Why only FortiGate? So I'll stop my sharing screen. I will share my desktop so that I can write it properly. Okay. So meanwhile, any question or confusion here? No? Okay, cool. So I'm sharing my screen once again, and this time I will completely share my desktop. So now you see my desktop, and if you observe it, it's like, the symbols you see, that this is basically the image of the Kali Linux. Some of you might be aware, but if in case you do not, this symbol, the screen symbol, this is for the Kali Linux. And Kali Linux is very much popular for the uh, hacking as well as the penetration testing. So why I'm telling, because this is just a general knowledge, and you are getting into cybersecurity or the network security, you must be aware of these things or symbols at least. If you know it, that's like very good. But in case you don't know, that's like add an advantage. Now, going further to our questions, that what are the firewalls available in the market? Right. So we have obviously very first what we did just discuss, that's FortiGate. We also have our Palo Alto firewall. I'm talking about the most popular firewalls which are in the market right now. We also have like Cisco Firepower. Before that, it was like Cisco ASA. Okay, and ASA have little bit advanced and added some more engines in that one by acquiring the S-Node, or basically supporting S-Node. S-Node was already an open source, but they have like supported that, and with the help of that, they have made it a firepower. So now it is like more advanced features available here. We have Checkpoint Firewall. Checkpoint is very good vendor and very popular. Before some time, it was very popular. Okay. We have like Versa, right? That's also firewalls available. Similarly, we have like a lot of firewalls. It's not list is not completing here. We have a huge list here and there, and people are utilizing a lot of firewalls. In fact, like your AWS is having their own firewalls in their clouds. Azure is having their own cloud in their, like Azure have their own firewall in the clouds, right? So similarly, there are other small vendors as well. I will not say the small vendors, like for example, Huawei, it's not small, right? But in the firewall section, they are not a leader. The people are not buying a lot of Huawei firewalls or any other, for example, Juniper SRX. Juniper is also including a firewall, but they are not so popular, and the features and options available there are not so good. So why should we learn only FortiGate firewall, or why should I focus here? So the if you see the Gartner research, Gartner is like one of the third party research center. They do not have their own deployment or their own product, but only that's research company. They only provide that which are the options are available good in the market. So if they observe, they have the leader sections that which are the market leaders. So in the market leaders, they have observed that FortiGate, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, these are the market leaders. I have written down in the like 1, 2, 3, but it doesn't mean that FortiGate is number one, Palo Alto is number two, or Checkpoint is number three. Not like that. It's like all three are in the leader sections. Okay. And also with whenever they have introduced this firepower, this is also coming in some of the later section, but still I haven't seen a lot of deployments of the Cisco firepower in the network. FortiGate and Palo Alto like most popular. Checkpoint is little bit lagging because of the slow response of its GUI and ease of the configuration. So I have also seen the people are migrating from Checkpoint to FortiGate and Palo Alto, but it doesn't mean that the Checkpoint is out of the market and people are not using it. There is still like a lot of vendors and like still buying the Checkpoint, right? So it's like good feature, very good firewall. And before a few years, Checkpoint was the leader in that section because the FortiGate and Palo Alto not available to compete them. Like it's like before 6 years or 7 years, Checkpoint was only a firewall available with the uh, application layer features. Okay. Any questions till now? If you have, you can write in the chat, or if you're on the Zoom call, you can speak. So guys who are in the LinkedIn Live, if you want to join it on the what is called Zoom, you can also join it via Zoom. Okay. You can speak over there. Any questions till now?
Hi, Bharat. I am Varun here.
I would.
Yeah, like, is there any tool to manage the FortiGate firewall? Like Palo Alto, we are using Panorama, right? So,
Yeah.
is there any tool like that?
Yeah, we have FortiManager for it.
Okay. In that, we
The
can
same.
manage all the firewalls or individual
Exactly.
firewalls?
No, we can manage all the files. Individually, you can already normally log in the FortiGate firewall and you can manage, you can add the rules, delete it, whatever you want to do. But with the FortiManager, it's like you can add or integrate the firewalls in the FortiManager, hundreds of or thousands of the firewalls in the FortiManager.
Okay.
You can push the policies from the FortiManager to the
Same as it is Panorama, right?
exactly same as Panorama.
Okay. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay. So any other question if you have, I can take it. Otherwise, I will let's move further. No? Okay. So next thing I will just talk about the lab part, that how basically we do the labs. So what I have done, I use this EVNG platform, but for that EVNG, in order to run that, I use VMware Workstation. So I use VMware Workstation here. Okay, so inside that VMware Workstation, I have installed the EVNG OS. So I will open it. And once I start this VM, then I can use its IP address to log in the GUI of the EVNG. So it will just quickly show it here. So now you can see that it's saying that use HTTP 192.168.30.100. So I'm going to use that IP. You can log in using the default credentials. I haven't changed that one. So they are still there. And usually people don't change it because of the single user configuration. Now, if I go to the FortiGate firewall lab, okay, so this is the lab I have created. So you can see that I have this FortiGate firewall here in between. Okay. I have connected a switch. From that switch, we have three PCs. And on the right side, so this you can treat it as your internal network. So here could be like thousands of machines. It's not mandatory to add all of them. The same feature, like whatever testing you do with the one, the same is going to be applicable for the thousands of machines. We have created one server and we can check the connectivity, what's happening here and there. At the firewall of one of the interface, I have also provided the internet here. So in case you need a testing in any of the devices that internet is working here or not, so whatever the traffic we are going to access right now, either we try to reach this server here or we want to go to the internet, all the traffic will pass through the FortiGate firewall. And here, being an administrator, I can control whatever the traffic is going in and out. I can create the policies, I can control it, that what's going out and what's coming in. Obviously, being there, I can monitor the traffic, what other people are doing, what are the websites they are accessing, what they are doing. Like so, because I'm an administrator, security administrator, I will control most of the things. Obviously, like whenever you're in organization, you always follow the instruction of your CISO. We have like Chief Information Security Officer. You do not control the organization, right? So policy is coming from the top. You say that, okay, the adult content is getting blocked. Social media, people cannot access. YouTube, people should not be able to access. They create a policy. They tell to you that, okay, policy means that in the documents they created that, okay, but people should not be accessing the facebook.com. They come to you, being an administrator, you deploy the policy, you block the facebook.com or youtube.com or any other malicious website, whatever the website you create, take care of that one, that how the people can allow or like they can access the resources and they cannot. All right. So let me start this firewall here. So that's how the console looks like. The system is starting. And the good part in the FortiGate firewall that the boot time is very quick. So if you take about the Palo Alto, it takes quite longer comparatively. Okay. And also it's just always depends on uh, the configuration of the devices. They are low end, high end, how much CPU and memory uses they are having. So I'm going to log into the CLI of the FortiGate. I want to log in the GUI of this FortiGate firewall. So I have to check that what are the IP address of the GUI. So I can check the normally port one we use at login to the GUI of that one, or we can say the management of the firewall. Okay, so management of the FortiGate firewall is always goes through the port one. So like in the Palo Alto, it goes with the management port, and some of the other vendors as well, they are having the dedicated port for the management. But here in the FortiGate, all the management traffic goes via port one. So in the port one, we have the configuration as an IP address of 192.168.30.161. So I will log in it via this 192.168 dot, I just forgot, 30.161. So I'm about to log in my GUI. And that's how basically the GUI looks like in the FortiGate firewall. So some of you might have already worked or not completely, but you know what might not be so good on that one, but you might have seen the GUI of the FortiGate firewalls. So if you observe it here, there are like certain sections. The very first one is like you can see the host name, that what is the host name of the your firewall. Everything revolves around it. And we follow the company standard for the naming convention of the FortiGate firewall. We have its serial number. What is the firmware right now? So we are in the version 7 right now, 704. It's configured in the NAT mode. System time is this, 23rd March, 2:52. Seeing as the FortiGate time is out of sync. So that's probably not a problem as of now. And uptime is like 2 minutes, 53 seconds. So I have just started it, so it's quite low. But if you see in the production environment, it could be like 2 years, 10 years. Not 10 years, like we hardly see, because sometimes we like upgrade the OS, then it takes a restart. So 10 years, like very hard. I have seen the routers like they are running from the 10 years, nobody started or upgraded them. But for firewalls, it's like very hard to go because this is security device and we always do patch management, patch updates. So in that case, it takes a lot of firmware upgrade. In that case, like it usually take the restart. So longer that is like almost impossible. But it, no, you don't know, like people are so lazy or they're not taking care of firewalls once deployed and they forget it. So in that case, you can also see the very longer uptime. You can also see the licenses, that what are the licenses available right now. Okay, so you can see that this is like free version I'm using right now. So you can see that most of these features are not available. Okay, you can see that what are the allocated CPUs here and how much it has been used. You can also see the graphs here, that what are the current sessions and all. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see that how much CPU is getting utilized. So current usage is like 4%. For the memory is like current use is 76%. So this is for the 1 minute, but you can also check for the longer time, more than 24 hours, right? So if I check for like 12, obviously like we have just started, so will not see that value. 10 minutes is fine. So you can see that just started right now. Okay. And same way, you can also see that how many sessions are running out of hours. So sessions means like how many connections are going in and out currently. Okay. So it's almost negligible. This is about the status. You can check the status here. Whatever we are seeing, that's the status condition in our firewall. We can also check our network interfaces, that what are the network interfaces are available from here. Right. So these are the network interfaces I have configured. Port 1 is configured at this IP address. Okay. So you can select that interface, you can edit it and change the value as per your requirement. We have some other features like DNS, packet capture, static routes, policy routes. We have other routing protocols available. We can do the configuration for those. Important section is our firewall policy, and that's is the core of the firewall. It tells you, or basically with help of this, you can configure that what traffic can be allowed or got denied, right? So this is the rule you are creating here. For example, I have one rule created for our communication, and that says that PC 10.11.10 to server 172.16.1.10, and all services are action is accept. Accept means allow. They are allowed to communicate. PC 10.11.10. So if I go to the topology 10.11.10, this PC is allowed to communicate to 172.16.1.10. That's what the policy is right now. If I start, let's test it out. If I start it here, and in order to communicate, I also need to start this switch. So this is basically an L3 switch. And through that, it communicates further. So if I go to, meanwhile, this starting all of these devices, let me discuss more about the policies. So this is the policy I created last time, but I'm not quite interested on this one. And what I'm thinking of, let's disable this policy. So if you are like want to create a policy, you can create from this section. I will cover the policy creation in like upcoming classes. But as of now, you can like give name, add incoming, outgoing interface, source and destination IP. Okay. And I'm right now interested to disable this policy. I want to show you that if we do not have this policy, okay, so then what's going to happen? So right now the policy exists, it's created, but it is in the disabled state. So what is going to happen now? You can consider that this policy does not exist on this firewall. So if this policy does not exist, it means that PC 10.11.10 cannot communicate to 172.16.1.10. After that one, you can see there is an implicit policy. And this is the default policy of the FortiGate firewall. Default policy says all source to all destination, they cannot communicate because the action is denied. It says if you have any firewall deployed anywhere, right? So let's say you have this firewall and you have multiple interfaces here. This could be your port 1, or let's see port 2, port 3, port 4, port 5. Okay, so obviously there could be computers here, right? Or you connected a switch and there could be multiple computers behind that one. You may connect like router something and there could be multiple devices here. Okay, so that's what whenever I say the port, it means the devices behind that port. So if we have connectivity like this, and if it is a FortiGate firewall, in that case, the communication cannot be from here to here by default. If you have not created any policy, if you just like have an implicit policy configured, that says that all source to all destination, they cannot communicate. So if like any device behind the port 2 that want to communicate, any device which is behind the port 5, they cannot communicate. Same thing in the reverse direction. If they come here, they cannot communicate. If this port 4 wants to go here, they cannot. Port 2 wants to go port 4, they cannot because of this implicit deny policy. But if the users are here, like within port 5, like same zone, we can say, so this machine can communicate to this PC because that traffic is not going to the firewall. But anything crossing through the firewall, they cannot communicate with each other. That by default, firewall does not allow. In fact, FortiGate firewall does not allow. We do not talk about what other firewalls do, other vendors firewall do. I only focus that what FortiGate firewall do. So right now, they cannot communicate. So if other vendor firewalls do not have this implicit deny policy, then they might be able to communicate with each other. Or like Palo Alto have their interzone and intrazone concept. So because of that, that communication happens. So now my devices have been enabled. Okay, so if I go this Windows PC here, so that's like basically a Windows 7 PC I have taken. And if I show you the IP address config, that what's the IP address here? This configured IP address as 10.1.1.10. So the same as per the laptop policy, that's okay. And if I want to ping this 172.16.1.10, then let's see what's happening. And it's getting timed out, right? So it's not able to communicate. Now, it's my responsibility. Basically, I would just want to check it. That is that like problem with the firewall or something else, right? It could be you haven't connected these devices, or this switch is down, or this cable is not connected. Why only we can say that this is an issue of the firewall one? We're not sure, right? So how will you check it that, okay, this is the problem with the firewall or any cable broken, or in fact, the problem with the switch or the problem with the machine or the problem with the server? Ultimately, at the source, I'm just seeing that it is request timed out. That's it. I don't have any other information. How can we pretty sure that it is the particular firewall which is blocking the traffic? So what I do, just for like, we have an option. So I go to check the logs. Is that like blocked on the firewall or not? So I go to this log and report section here. Under here, there's option of the forward traffic. If I go in the forward traffic, you can see that for that source 10.1.1.10 to that destination 172.16.1.10, that's as a deny. Means that it's denied to communicate to server 172.16.1.10. If I double click it here, I can see the more logs, more option, more details. Okay. So if I see the more details, you can see the time, IP address, resolve, that's okay. Destination is this, application name this, and action is deny, policy violation. So ultimately, we came to know that, okay, my traffic is getting dropped on the firewall. It means that my path is okay because I'm receiving the traffic on the firewall. It means that the communication from this PC up to the firewall is in the backend. It's fine because it's coming to the reaching to the firewall. We are okay with it. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create a policy. So I will go to this policy and objects section here. I will discuss this in the detail that how to create the policy. I'm just saving my time right now because of this first session. Because if I tell everything in the first session, you get that that what's ongoing. So I'm just giving the glimpse that what are the things are possible here today. Okay. So if I go on this edit, if I took, would have been a new policy, I will just add all these fields. Okay. And at the end, I will enable this policy. Enables these that now these people can communicate to other section. Like the source can communicate to the destination, this one, and all the services. Okay. So now if I ping or because like in fact like ping, okay, that's continuous ping I did. So it started pinging now instantly. And we can also see that in the log section. That should be okay. It takes a little bit time. It will show in a while that you can see that okay, the traffic is getting allowed. Okay. So but you can see that here the results is like everything is going through now instantly. If you scroll up, I scroll up a little bit, you can see earlier it was not allowed, right? And now it is working fine. Cool. So that's basically the controlling of our FortiGate firewall. And based on that, we allow and deny the traffic. Right now, it was for the server that we allowed communication. But next time, it would be to the internet. And there a lot of features are available. Okay. So that we will cover it up very soon. So that's how we are going to access the lab. So I do not provide any like cloud or the lab access. I will set you up this lab on your PC, and that's how you can access these things. So benefit of the setting up the lab on your PC is that you can create your topology of your own interest. You can practice anytime, obviously. And the important part is that you can do whatever you want, ease of convenience. If you like you have like taken the labs from any of the lab provider, so usually they restrict that topology that you cannot change. You can use at any time, but you cannot use any other device or other systems over there. So that's like restrictions we are having. So that's why it's good idea to have it on your PC and unlimited time. You can like after 4 years you want to use it, you can use it because it's you completely your PC. So if I talk about this, any questions till now?
Yeah, but so it's like you made changes in the FortiGate firewall, right? Actually, in Palo Alto, if you made any changes, we need to push to that device. In FortiGate, automatically it will take, or we need to push manually.
Yeah, that's really good question, and that's like very no makes different. Yeah. So what happens in the FortiGate firewall? Like usually in the Palo Alto, you just make any changes and you have to make the commit here at the top. Only after the commit it works. Either you do it from the panorama, like your centralized manager, or
Yeah.
you do directly on the firewall. But you have to commit after making the changes on the firewall. But here
Yes.
it's quicker, like little bit faster, but also a little
Okay.
bit risky as well. That you just simply click OK and it is done instantly applied on the firewall. There's nothing like a candidate configuration or still waiting in state.
Okay.
Okay. So it is a
Okay.
little bit quick, but yeah, same time it gives you risk as well that if you did something by mistake, it is
Yeah,
instantly
correct. It will affect the production, right? So that's why I asked.
updated. Yeah, yeah. So it will impact. So we have to be very careful that
Okay.
don't click anything wrong. So obviously we have the revert option and but yeah, it's instantly if you miss something, it will create a production impact.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other question? No. Okay. So after that one, I will just talk about that what like.
Anuj, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please.
Is there you said right that policy is allowed in that Linux server, but here in
Hmm.
logs we can't. You can't show me that logs traffic
Okay.
is allowed.
Yeah, I'll show you. It should be available now. You see that now it is available, right? And if
Yes,
I
son.
double click and explore that one, you can see that whatever the policy name I created, server communication, using that policy, my traffic is getting allowed. The action is accept. Accept means that traffic is allowed to it. And where you're doing the ping, so it's also detecting that you're pinging that server, not like it's not unknown of that one that what you're doing. So you're also doing the ping of that, right? So that's what we will see here. So more time it will take because I have done the continuous ping. It is still doing. So we'll see the more logs here. Right now we just only see 2 lines, but yeah, they will keep on increasing. It takes time to reflect it here in the log, but it will be. So that's how you can see it here. Okay, cool. So now if I talk about the content, obviously like you might be aware of that, what I'm going to cover it, but I will just quickly walk through it. So very first thing in this entire content that what we are going to cover. Okay. So here, that very first thing I will tell you in the brief, is there any traffic which is by default allowed on the FortiGate firewall? No, by default, it's not allowed. If you, there is a like default policy, there is a question from a user that is there any traffic which is by default allowed on the FortiGate? So the answer of this question, if you just go to the policies section here, I'll just security and firewall policy. So there's like implicit deny. So if I do not include this server communication policy, so it is implicit deny, and it says that from all source, all the destination, the traffic is denied. So nothing can go in and out in the FortiGate firewall because of this implicit deny. Okay. Yes. So yes, I will start from the scratch. So let me just tell you that what I'm going to cover. So very first thing, I consider that you are very new or beginner to the firewall. So I will just introduce you to the firewalls. So today I have explained a little bit, but we will just discuss more about that introduction, that why basically we need the firewalls again and how it is different from the networking. So I will consider that you are a networking guy, and obviously it is very important that you have at least a CCNA knowledge. So even you do not have the CCNA certification or very good knowledge on CCNA, but networking basics is very essential. If you do not have networking basics, it's going to be hard time for you. So if you are working in the any of the networking, so at least you should be aware like TCP/IP model. You should be having an what is source IP, destination IP, port numbers, the subnetting, what is the static routes. You should not be proficient on the any of the routing protocols like BGP or RIP or EIGRP or BGP. We're not going to like worry about that, but yeah, but you should be having some basic knowledge that you understand that. Okay, so people are not able to view what I'm writing, so I will just change my background so that you can view it clearly. So networking basic is must, and after that one, very first sessions will be like introduction to the firewalls, and considering that you are like very new to the security. So I have cybersecurity experience as well. So I will keep on telling you those fields as well, which might not be relevant to only the firewalls, but yeah, they are very good in the cybersecurity fields or what other peoples are doing. Okay. So introduction to the firewalls, first of all, I will cover. Then I will help you to set up the like how to create interface configuration, not create, in fact, interface configuration, zones. Okay, so I will say that the management of the firewall in summary, right? So in the management, it's like about your creation of the your interfaces configuration, your backup, how to create the backup, how to upgrade the firewalls, and it's like all about the management of the how to create the users, how you can assign the different privileges to the users which you just created. So that's part we are going to learn. After that one, we will just help you to create the lab. That's like very essential. Okay, so for the lab section, I will just show you that how you can create it. And if required, I will take any of the user's machine sharing, and then I can show you that how to do the things, and then you can follow the other people's can do that one. I have also like recorded sessions for that one that I will give it to you. So you can try to set up the lab with that one. And if you are stuck in issues, we'll during the classes, we'll try to troubleshoot that why you're not able to do that one. Okay. After that, we will learn about the firewall policies. Okay, so it's like firewall policy in the detail that why we need it, what are the implicit, like we already saw that default policies. And then we will see that how the traffic is allowed or deny. We will try to investigate it further. We'll try to do some more troubleshooting features and try to intercept the traffic that where it is getting blocked or what are the actions we can take to remediate that one. We will talk about the NAT. So NAT is already covered in the CCNA and you might be aware of a little bit, but we will take in the consideration of the firewalls like source NAT and the destination NAT. So in the FortiGate, the destination it's called as the WIP. So that we will discuss in the detail that what is basically source NAT and destination NAT. Obviously, like during this one, we cannot skip the static NAT, dynamic NAT, or the PAT port address translation. So those are the core. So we'll just quickly brush up those and then we will go further. So whatever I'm just talking about, we most of the things we cover the theory first, give you some basic understanding that what they are, and then we go on to the lab. So for the every topic, that's how we will proceed further. First we'll learn theory, then we do the lab of that one. We do some web filtering, or basically I will say that application layer features or the security profiles people call it as. Okay, so in the security profiles, we will learn about the web filtering. It's like how to block any URL, how you can use an application control if you want to block or allow any of the application. For example, you want to block the LinkedIn application. You can allow Facebook browsing, but you want that people cannot post, right? So Facebook post will be blocked, but only the Facebook will be accessible. Facebook browsing will be applicable. So we'll try to create such type of policies using the application control. And this is like very advanced feature we have recently introduced. So not only FortiGate Firewall, some other vendors are also coming with the application, and most of the people are tending towards application rather than the port numbers. So whenever we talk about the firewall policies, these are mostly on the port numbers that we allow that okay, port 22 should be allowed, port 532 or any custom port should be allowed or denied. But in some cases, in the internet applications, we totally depend on the application and we allow the applications that what should be allowed or denied. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . and we learned about the VPN concepts. Okay, so we will talk about the site-to-site VPN, some cryptography fundamental, remote access VPN. So I will tell you about the remote access VPNs, but the lab part we will be covering about the site-to-site VPN. I will not be covering the lab section of the remote access VPN because of some certificate and the lab setup ease of convenience, because it's like hard to set up the lab for the site remote access VPN. But I will just walk through that one, that how you can create a remote access VPN. But we will not be doing lab for that one. For the remaining others, we will, for the most of things, we will be doing the lab. Here only the web filter, that category web filter option is not available because of the license issues, because we are not using any license FortiGate firewall for the practice, else the cost will be going high. So we will do the configuration. We will do that, understand that how you can configure and how you can make the things ready. The only the difference it will be that it will not be working. You cannot test that feature that, okay, it is working or not. So for example, you block that all the social networking sites are, you have blocked on the FortiGate firewall, right? So accordingly, the facebook.com should not be working, but you will see that the facebook.com is still working. That's the only difference you will see. But for the configuration perspective, you will see that how to configure it, how to create the policies, how you can attach the security profiles on that one. That we will learn, and we will be able to do that one. So configuration perspective, everything is fine, but only thing that it will not be working. Working means like you cannot test it that, okay, you blocked facebook.com and you see that, okay, yes, my Facebook is not accessible. That will not be able to do that one. And at the end, we will learn about the high availability. So this is like one of the very important and internet, uh, not internet, interview affinitive topics. Most of the interview questions comes about the high availability. So high availability is basically like whenever we use two firewalls, it could be active mode or active standby mode. So if any of the firewall goes down, other will still be able to take the traffic. So that's how basically that's what we are going to cover here. And most of the like interview questions are covered up from this topics. That's like your high availability, VPN concepts, and firewall and NAT, and obviously like this application layer features. So these are like more internet interview affinitive. So your 30 to 40% interviews are going through these or four basically. So if I increase the like 50 to 60%, and remaining 40% questions of the interview can be from any other topic. You never know. But yeah, because these are the important features: application layer features, security profiles, VPN, and high availability. So like your 50 to 60% questions, interview questions will be from these sections in any of the interview you go for the FortiGate. Not only the FortiGate, in fact, like any of the other vendor as well, maximum questions are covered in these topics. These are the important topics. If I talk about the duration and the cost, that was like one of the hot topics, right? So the duration, like very first thing, the content is going to be around 30 hours. Okay. And I'm planning the classes on the weekend. Weekends means Saturday and Sunday only. Timing will be 9:30 to 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And it's like going to be 30 hours. If we talk about that, will be covered in the almost 10 weeks. So that goes around 2 months. So obviously, like this is like huge time. We will learn a lot of things in that time duration. So if we have like shorter time, obviously we have to skip some of the parts. And this content is like tentative time. We can be like up and down of that one. It could be like 28 hours or it could be 32 hours, depending on our agreement. Like, for example, you are easily grasping all the things, you have less questions, they will finish it like in 27 or 28 hours, or maybe less than that. But in case we have like more interactive discussions or questions, we are going good, then in that case we may stretch it to 32. So I do not like limit the time. It's like we should learn the things and then we should go further. We should not be hurry that okay, we have to cover the content and that's it, we are gone. Ultimate goal will be the learning, that we should be comfortably learn and get the things what we want. Okay. And yeah, the most important thing, that amount, that so the cost of this one is 5997. Okay. So that's what you can like do on it. Okay. And you can, the question will be that how to make the payments, so that you can learn on like do on the payment link that I will share. But there's like I'm giving you that. Any questions till now? Let me know, then we'll proceed further.
Hello, I have one doubt. Anuj,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, exactly fire as a firewall admin, what are the rules what is the work total we have to handle? It's like creating the policies as well as any other work we have to do.
Yeah. So very first thing, like about the policies, that you create the policies, right? So it's like you also manage your firewalls, right? So
Okay.
policy, you get the troubleshooting, that anybody comes that okay, hey, my this port is not working. So that you create policy for that one. Once again, they come back that it was working before, but now it is not working. Now you troubleshoot that why it was working before and now it is not working. Okay. You do the packet capture, you try to investigate further. You also manage the firewalls. Manage the firewalls mean that you are responsible for upgrading your firewalls to the latest update. If any vulnerability is coming, you have to make sure that
Uh,
you mitigate those. And
Using which Fati manager we will use and push the patches, right? All firewalls in our network.
you can do that one, and you can do individually as well. Patches you
I-
can
I-
do via the Forti manager, but like for example, firmware upgrade or like FortiOS upgrade, that we people usually prefer to do via directly log onto the firewall, because that's risky. Big firewall takes a restart on that.
Okay. In the organization, is there any thousand firewalls is maintained means then through Fati manager only, right? We'll push the updates.
Updates is fine. There's two things. One is the update, content update. Update is fine that you can do, and most of the updates like even do not push it. They are like configured via the internet, and the
Okay.
devices take the updates automatically. Auto updates are possible that you can do. So like every day any update is coming. Update means like content update. It's like any malware has been detected, right? So that your firewall should be aware that okay, this is a malware. That type of update comes automatically via the internet. So the regular
Okay.
interval. But
Is
whenever
there
there's a
any one if there any vulnerability is found on that FortiGate firewalls on that time? The patch
yeah,
was
so
released from vendor side
yeah, that patch is then you have to do the upgrade, right? So it's like a 40 OS upgrade. So that you have to do one by one
individually.
individually, yes. Because this
If
one is like taking your restart of your firewall, right?
okay,
So
if an
so you say
organization maintaining 500 firewalls means it's difficult, right?
yeah, it is difficult, but you cannot push it from your 40 manager all your 40 500 firewalls to restart at the same time, right? You cannot
Okay.
take that
Yeah.
risk
Okay.
because it's
Okay.
a restart of your firewall. You cannot put your down traffic, so you have to be very careful, and you no, plan in a very phased manner, that you do the whatever the standby upgrade you do the like what is called failover, and then you upgrade the firewalls. You have to be very careful. Obviously, you have the 500 firewalls. There cannot be any one administrator managing those firewalls. There could be multiple users as well managing those firewalls. So we can plan in the phased manner and we can do the upgrades.
Okay. And as well as what is AD integration with the firewalls,
So
AD
that is required.
policies.
Yeah, so that is required for the user authentication or any policy created for the user policy. So right now, whatever policy we saw, that was based on the IP address.
Okay.
But in case you want to create it one based on the user, you want to authentication will be done via AD. So
Okay.
here that you have to integrate it with the firewall so that any user coming here on the firewall that first to go to the AD and then AD authenticates it and then replies back to the firewall, and then your firewall takes decision whether I should allow that user to go to the certain source to like internet or not. That basically that's why we need the AD integration.
FSSO.
Yeah, yeah. So any other question? No? Okay. So next thing is like if you because we have limited people here. So if you sorry, I will just do the revert of that one. Yeah. So if you enroll right now, I will just give an instant discount of 10%. Okay. So the actual price will be 5997. But if you like enroll within this session, you will get a 10% off. Okay. Only thing you have to do, you have to use the coupon code. I will just do it right away. I will stop sharing my screen. Or let me do like this as well. So I'm just like giving you a link as well as the coupon code, and this is like valid for the sessions like for around